United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Davish Yakine.
Here.
Devereaux. Green.
Here.
Lewis. McKinney.
Here.
Robinson here. Schwartz.
Moving to approval of the agenda, there are a few items that I'd like to add. One is related to the approval of the replacement of the Harvest Lane sewer main that is coming to us from our utilities department from Director Mary Burton. Another, which to be timely, we need to bring on is a request for me a resolution of support for supporting the County Parks and Recreation Commission to submit a transportation alternative program grant that we have no funding tied into, but simply showing some our support as a community. Two, we have a letter from our auditor that discussed the value on our 24 audits with the Allendale property. And I know that there was some interest in seeing that in writing from the auditor, so we've got that as well. And finally, I've got my supervisor's report. Yes.
Okay, you want to add 2 new agenda items?
Yes, so we're putting on a sanitary sewer replacement.
Okay, that would be going to new business for letter K.
Okay.
Does that have a resolution?
And Ms. Burton submitted one, yes.
Okay, so that resolution number would be 2025-65. And then the other one, the Washtenaw Community Rec Center Trail and Tap grant, that would be item L.
Okay.
And the resolution number would be 2025-66.
Can you let me read that again? One time, what?
It's clear. Sure. This is a resolution for background. County Parks received support to submit an application to SEMCOG and TAP for funding to expand the pathway that goes from where the rec center will be through some of their other recreation assets on Lark. And the county parks director asked me if I would work with this board to submit a resolution on their behalf showing them support of their efforts.
I just couldn't understand what ambulance.
Okay.
And then was there an additional item, was there an amendment as well?
There is a letter that I received this morning from our auditor, Lauren Kugler. She works with Ken Falco, she's with this firm, and it's relating to the sale of the Allendale property. There was a.
I'm sorry. Supervisor, was that under communications? Okay.
That's the right price for it.
Okay. You're welcome.
All right. So 2 new items and 2 communications. Is there approval to move forward the agenda? Move as amended.
Move the agenda.
Sorry, I want to make one additional change. Do we have to vote on that individually or?
We can make the change on that when we get to it. You wanna amend it?
No, I just, no, not what we thought.
Oh,
I just want to make a change to the agenda.
oh yeah, you can do that now.
So I'd like to actually move, item B under new business resolution to approve promotion of fire lieutenant. So the first resolution that we talk about in the business, so it would be A. We go in front of first reading ordinance that establishes the commission for setting salary to elected town officials.
So you want C, you can vote.
Yes, correct.
Someone second it?
I'll second that.
Is there support to move forward with the amended agenda?
Support.
Is there a second?
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
trustee.
Yeah, Brenda had already. Yeah, Brenda had already.
I know that you made a friendly amendment.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And so we have a second on
It's
the
a friendly
amendment.
amendment to my Roman routine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving to citizen participation. If there's an item on the agenda that you would like to speak to, we have 3 minutes for public comments, and if you could join us at the podium, share your name and the subject like to share with the public, share with the board.
Is there a comment that other comments will, if I have other comments that are out in the
Yeah, so generally, our board is split up, citizen participation and presentation as two separate areas. And so under presentation, I'd ask you to please share your comments.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Bernice Limpy. I live on Alamar Drive in Superior Township. First, I want to commend you for getting a lot done. I'm reading different things and you're very busy. You're doing some great things for the township and I really appreciate it. This was in your assessor's report, so it's on your agenda. It's about blight, and there was a comment about blight on Getty's Road. I know you appointed a blight committee. There's a horrible blight on Dixboro. So I would really hope that you would have that committee talk about what actions they've been doing. I noticed that on the agenda, there's a resolution or an ordinance, first reading, to establish a commission for setting salaries of elected township officials. We talked about that 3 or 4 years ago. That would be an excellent way to have transparency and accountability in your stipends or your salaries. I think that's really great that it's coming before you. Hope that that's something that you really consider. I think that's it, but thank you very much for what you're doing. It's like you're doing a lot of good.
Thank you.
Brenda Baker, Ashton Court. Speaking on behalf of I think it promotes Superior Township. We have our monthly people graphic. This month it is page 118 out of 311 in your packet. And there are also copies available for the audience receiving that. Just mention it to read it for yourself, but I'll mention a couple of items that appear on there. One of those is our social media kind of maturing a little bit in the sense that we're still trying to attract new following. But we have such a good following that we've kind of plateaued. I mean, there's only so many people in the township, right? But now we want them to come back. So we need to give them some substantive content so that they want to come back. And if anybody on the board or anybody in the audience has any suggestions of things that they would like to contribute or suggest that we investigate, you can reach out to us at C2PST at superior-twp.com. Or you can put it on to say the Facebook or the Instagram. It won't go up, but it will be reviewed and it may go up if it is approved to go up. The other thing I wanted to mention was we will have our information booth at the Michigan Folk Festival this Saturday at Stabler Farm Park, where the Michigan Folk School is. And the festival is from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock on Saturday. And we will have our booth there, similar to the booth that we have weekly at the Farmers Market. So you might want to stop by there, and that's something relatively new in our township.
And phone speaker.
That was the report. I also wanted to mention in the minutes of the last meeting, our communication was reported as the community to promote Superior Township. And there's no opportunity to make that correction. It would be wonderful if the entire community was promoting Superior Township. However, right now we're just a committee. So I wanted to make that correction. And I think that was it. Thanks.
Yes, Jack Smiley on Cherryville Road, also a commissioner for the Parks and Rec Commission. For the Prospect Point West, item on your agenda. I just want to remind you that the Parks and Rec Commission voted to encourage you to delete 4 home sites on the far east portion of that development, east of the road, so that a high quality trail could be established in that area. I wish Sarah were here because she was a strong proponent of that. And it wouldn't really require much disturbance for the other part of their development. In the next phase, they do have a trail connection to Highland Reserve, but unfortunately, it just wasn't in the very good location. That trail, if they had it there, would require the trail to go in front of people's houses. And I'm sure people don't want the trail in front of their house, and it'd be much better to have it outside of the development area. And just removing these 4 home sites would really accentuate the desirability of this trail. And we could then have a trail from Park Road to Township Hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Mrs. Mohammed and I'm a resident of Superior Township. And I just want to ask, first of all, the board members to please speak into your microphone, because when you're on Zoom, it's all muffled and we can't really understand what you're saying. And to also take note of where the cameras are, because we can see you scrolling on your phone under the table and then popping your head up to nod as if you're listening. So please be mindful of that. I still have concerns about the board packet because it's over 300 pages. And I want my elected officials to be well informed when voting on measures that impact me. So I'm going to continue to recommend that your timeline be adjusted so that you can serve our community fully. For the board packet, the report from the Office of the Sheriff, it was good to know about the House Watch service. I hope that gets publicized more. I didn't know about that when you're away from home. There's a House Watch service that they provide. Ordinance number 198, which is the Salary Commission. I was glad to see that. Thank you for your continued work, Trustee Green. And now we'll just see if the board supports you. The voters are watching. Resolution 2025-59, which is the personnel manual, specifically the appeal process for complaints under the letter G. Just because a complaint is not substantiated does not mean it's not true. And that's what's stated there. So I would suggest a modification to that title. Under point H, letter I, an outside investigator can only review the original findings. This means that they can't dig deeper into the investigation. The way this is written, the outside investigator would pretty much have no choice but to agree with the in-house investigator. And I'm not sure that's a message of fairness that you want to send to the township employees. The motion to adopt the annual investment policy, there were lots of typos on the cover sheet. I bring that up because these documents become public record. And I was wondering if the actual policy was simply a cut and paste from a previous policy. And also I looked at the red book and it says that it references that a timeline for adopting an investment policy is 180 days after the end of the fiscal year. So I'm just wondering why that was not followed. On your comparative balance sheet for Fund 101, I'm wondering what happened to the 700,000 in treasury bills, because it's in the previous year, but it's not in the current year. And also, why aren't there notes for the financial reports? Because if you had notes, it would answer some of these questions. And also the trust and agency fund, what is the account with the description Michigan class? So if you could answer those for me, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Either with all the here online? Okay, thank you. All right. Posting citizen participation and moving ahead to supervisors' comments. Thank you all for being here this evening. I know that an item that has consistently been coming up across our community involves questions about the communities on MacArthur, especially Sycamore and Danbury. Please know that I have been working diligently with the folks at Legal Services, some of our community organizers, and now too the Sheriff Dyer has gotten involved with her upper command. And we've been meeting regularly to think about what pressure we can put on the landlords and how we can work for better quality of life for our residents, and think about interventions, especially with young folks who are more vulnerable to the environment they're around. And so I want to thank all of our partners, especially the folks at Legal Services who have consistently been working with our residents to make sure that they are getting the treatment that they deserve. But please know that we are underway, and we're going to keep working on this issue until we find some very serious resolution. Some other questions that I've gotten from the public recently include asking about the expansion of the DTE Granada substation on Plymouth and Dixboro. DTE came back to our planners and to me maybe 3 weeks ago, and they have not shared any updates in terms of what the formal site work, what the scope is going to look like. I know that in 1989, 1990, when they first came before the township, they were obliged to never expand the site, and the expectation of our residents was that there was going to be a brick shed that was home to some infrastructure, but nothing more significant beyond that. And the continuing conversations that we've been having have been disappointing to me in terms of candidly sincerity what the proposal is for both Superior and for Ann Arbor Township. But please know that I've not seen any true updates, but I expect that we'll be seeing something more concrete in the next several months. Another item that I've been hearing quite about that I'd like to respond to is there's been leakage with priority from the waste trucks. We've been seeing it in Washington Square, we've been seeing it in Oak Grove, we've also been seeing it in the Mathi Farms neighborhood. And consistently, when I am able to learn of where the location is, where the leakage is taking place, I've been working with the management over at Priority, trying to get those trucks either serviced or taken off of the road. So if you see anything, like, please reach out to me and we'll keep up that communication. We want to have a beautiful and tranquil neighborhood, and having leakage all over our streets is certainly not a part of that recipe. But outside of that, I'll have my report in the 4 minutes, and 2, I'll be sure to post this on social media. Oh, absolutely. Ms. McKinney brought to the township some of the folks over at People's Express, something that's been important to me and incredibly important to her, is thinking about more mobility options for our community. Right now, the township has 2 fixed routes, 2 fixed stops with Ann Arbor Transportation Authority, and we have a specific designated area within the community where we can reach A-Ride. But there, with our senior village, the organization People's Express is expecting to be able to pull down some of those funds and support a more robust plan so that all of our residents, especially our seniors, those with disabilities, our vets, can get coverage across the township. And so we're working to put together a plan that you will be able to see embedded within our 2026 budget. And I expect that we're going to be having our first working group in early October and have a vote, I hope, in October for our 26 budget. But Ms. McKinney, considering where our general fund is and what People's Express might be able to kick in, are looking especially around how we can get folks to their doctor's appointments and have fixed times where we can get some of our residents that have more mobility challenges or, you know, difficulties accessing grocery runs and things of that sort to, you know, get deliberate schedules associated with that. But it was a really thoughtful meeting, and I think we came away pretty pleased that that's an option that we can bring to the community. Thank you for organizing that. And so closing supervisors' comments, I'll move over to presentations, which we do not have any. And now move to the consent agenda. Does the board have a preference on whether they'd like to take A, B, and C and to receive and file them together, or would they like to pull any of the items? Okay. Is there a second to receive and file? I'll second it. Okay, all in favor? Second. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All of the consent agenda is received and filed. With nothing removed, we're moving to unfinished business, which there is none, and moving to new business. Our first item is celebratory. It is the resolution to approve the promotion of fire lieutenants. If our soon-to-be, hopefully new lieutenants would like to join us at the podium and introduce yourself to the board, I think that'd be a wonderful touch. So Corey and James, come on down.
Good evening, everyone.
Well,
We're at the wrong page. Hold
no pause. Is there a motion on the table for this item?
So moved.
Second.
Right, let's move to discussion.
on. So back in March, we promoted Lance Pierce to lieutenant position. He filled 1 shift. We didn't have enough candidates to complete the testing process back in March. So we redid it, and we had 4 candidates. 2 of them passed, which are Corey and James, through the lieutenant's position. And they will fill the other 2 shifts. So I'm asking the board to please recognize them and promote them to the position of lieutenant.
So moved. Support.
Shall we do a roll call?
Schwartz,
Yes.
Robinson, yes. McKinney,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux, Davish Yakai.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Congratulations. Okay, moving to what is now B, which is resolution 2025-58. I'm sorry, ordinance number 198, a first reading. Ordinance to establish a commission for setting salaries of elected township officials. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Right,
We're moving to. The first reading.
yes. Okay, is there any discussion or is there any action to be taken?
There is no action.
Was there a second?
Well, it depends. Do you want Julie to be the second on that one?
Someone move it at time.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
President,
I'll second, she seconds.
Okay, discussion. So I just wanted to introduce this resolution as an opportunity, for us to provide our voters with more than one opportunity to have a say in, salaries, for their elected officials. So as this, I asked Fred, to draft up an ordinance, we would like to establish a salary commission. And I was very happy with it. Ideally, what would happen is in odd number of years, the salary commission would meet, to discuss, what they feel like would be appropriate recommendations for, our local officials and trustees. Those recommendations would then come to the board for a formal vote. They could be voted up or down. In the case that, we felt like they had offered some ridiculous, increase, we could vote it down, then we'd go right back to the board. And so in that situation, we could receive a, raise, and that would be, provide our, community with two chances to hold their elected officials accountable as far as, raises are concerned. So I just wanted to bring this to the board, for your consideration. And this is obviously a first reading, open to any discussion, here that you all think is valuable. You want to go ahead?
I appreciate the spirit of what you're putting forward. For me, I think I have a maybe contrarian's perspective on it, in that I think that when a board makes a decision, the public can very clearly see what the line of communication is. So if we've got a budget and we're voting for 2% of the fundamental increases in salaries, for instance, as we did last year, the public could very easily see what I supported, what I chose to move forward versus what maybe Clerk Robinson was in favor of. My concern with creating an additional commission is that it's an additional layer of bureaucracy. And this group would not be a body of elected officials. And to me, something like this could become more political and would maybe inadvertently be an opportunity for some to defer responsibility to a different group that could be stacked full of nominations. And so my thinking is that we are in a hiring freeze. We are being very careful about how we're doing our spending. And we were elected to make decisions that reflect the public interest. If the public doesn't like those interests, including spending, stipends, things of that nature, then I think that there's an opportunity to hold us directly accountable. And so while I share the same concerns as you, and I appreciate the spirit of what you put together, and I think it's, a fine thing that you've done, my feeling is that there's another way for folks to be held accountable.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I can understand that point of view. I do think that, I believe in checks and balances. I believe that it operates as a separate check. I'm not sure I'm really in a position to speak to like the political nature of what this non-get established commission could be. But again, I don't really want to kind of circle back to Sarah beat the dead horse, but all right, probably say to that. But yeah, I do think that, again, I don't think that absolves the board's responsibility. I do think, like, for example, the salary commission had came back and recommended like no raises. Well, if a board member voted against that, right, then to send it back to the commission, I think, voters would still have the opportunity to say, oh yeah, I recognize that the salary commission, said no raises. And then I was sent back to the board, to the salary commission because the board didn't like that or approve that. Same thing for if the salary commission something that was like absurd, like 15% raises, right? That would still come before the board. If we all were just like, oh yeah, absolutely, we want that. The voters would still have the opportunity to look back and say like, okay, like I see that happened. I see that the board approved it. Then they would be like, okay, well now I'm interested into why X number of folks were appointed to that salary commission, and then why the board approved that recommendation. So I think there's still a very clear pathway to hold voters accountable, or to hold us as officials accountable. But I also think that creating this extra commission provides for an additional change, and I think would benefit us.
I'm kidding. Yeah, trustee Green, I have never known any of the elected officials ever getting more than what the employees got, 3% improvement. They've never gotten a lump sum before, to my knowledge. That's never been done before, just recently.
I mean, and I can appreciate that. That's not, looking back on someone simply thinking about the future as into what I think would be an increased value and voice given for everything, what it is that they're. So it's not, I'm not recommending this ordinance as a negative look back, but rather as a positive look forward and providing our citizens with an opportunity to have an additional voice in the process. That's all.
And then too, with the commission, when they bring it to the board has the option to vote however way they want to
Correct.
towards their offer, whatever they.
Right, and they can't lower the salary of the officials without the law that's established or a written law, or a written letter has to be submitted by officials, so.
Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, and since there's no further action to take, let's please move to item C.
We don't vote on the first reading, it's just the introduction of the ordinance.
So resolution 2025-59, a resolution to approve and adopt the personal manual. Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Shall we call the vote?
Davish Akine,
Aye.
Devereaux, Green,
No.
Lewis,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Robinson, no, Schwartz,
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes, the resolution passes. Moving to D, resolution 2025-60, resolution providing for the release of withheld salary increases and a moratorium on further adjustments and increases during the hiring years. Is there a motion?
a motion,
Support.
Discussion on this item, so just, can I make a motion to make an amendment to the resolution?
I'll second it, it's on page 165, it's 165.
Sorry. 167 is what I had. Sorry, this one says in section 2. No further salary increases, cost of living adjustments, can we actually raise that cost of living adjustments language?
What line are you on?
Sorry, section 2, this is a resolution authorizing the release of further salary
I think
increases.
155.
It's page 167, section 2,
I think the 150.
it's the start of the,
Oh. 167.
section 2. At the bottom of the page.
Okay.
Section 2, I just would like to eliminate the cost of living adjustment language where it says no further salary increases, comma, cost of living adjustments. Just want to eliminate that one.
Mr. Grant and I spoke about this and I understand the spirit of what you're looking to accomplish and I agree with you. We, regardless of whether we voted for these raises or not, ultimately these employees will be paid out when the hiring freeze is lifted, and I think it's unfair to folks to candidly string them along when they know that eventually they'll be receiving this lump sum, but rather than hold out, knowing that it's still gonna come out of township coffers, I'm comfortable moving forward and approving this resolution. Shall we call the vote? There's no further discussion.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Robinson, yes, McKinney,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux, Davish Akine,
Aye. The resolution is approved. Resolution 2025-61, item E, resolution to approve a proposal from Oyster Advisors for GIS application development to support sewer and water system management. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Page 176.
Is there an interest in discussion?
Just, I'll have just if, if Ava is married,
Miss Martin's here. He's been-
Oh.
yeah, he's been-
yeah, I just would like, if you're able to discuss like the current of the GIS system and how we're currently using it, or using the department.
Maybe you can share a little bit about the types of how this came about.
Yeah, so Mary and me approached OHM to increase the use of the existing ArcGIS system. So currently, we manage the water and sanitary system within ArcGIS. It's all mapped out. This would add additional field map program to better tie in at kind of the practices. There's some items in there for hydrant maintenance, valve exercising, and water service materials. Those are all related to the water mains maps. And then also the sanitary sewer jetting program. So it will better help the utility department track those items. That's the first update. There's other miscellaneous services in there of updating the GIS system to incorporate the new utilities that have been added since the last time the GIS system was updated, as well as a couple of allowance items in there for the utilities department to direct us as needed for support. So that helps.
And part of this too was spurred by the flooding that the community experiencing. We've been meeting with the County Roads Commission, meeting with folks at the Drain Commission, and trying to get a real handle on whose houses belong to who. And with gaps and understanding where the tap was, I think that we saw that this was a nice opportunity to
Yeah, so
really
this
develop our system.
and this map system is just for the sanitary and water application. So a storm, if that is added into the GIS system in the future, that would be a separate proposal.
Yeah.
So this one is just for the utilities from that, which is water and sanitary.
Yeah, we've been using the GIS for quite a few years now. I thought that sanitary sewer system was already included with GIS.
It is. So the existing system is already in our GIS application. These are more like enhancements and then adding some new developments that were not added into the system as they came online. So it's filling some gaps in the existing GIS programming.
But
And
we've never stopped using GIS.
no, it's been in use and continues to be a help to the utilities department to manage those
That's
assets.
been in for quite a while.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, just one more. Do you, so I know that you said that generally this would help our utilities department be more efficient. Can you speak to like, because I think a lot of folks in the audience, maybe at home, don't know what ArcGIS is. As a mapping tool, can you just speak like specifically, like, can you give some examples?
Sure, so it's an asset management program. A lot of this is now like dictated and required by the state, ever since Flint. It's a requirement to have your water system within a asset management program. So a lot of these are geared more towards the water service material, like, so for example, one of the items in the proposal is the valve exercising application. So currently now they go out and exercise valves to make sure that they're working. They can understand if the valve's not opening or closing properly. This will allow the field techs to directly input that in the field into the computer program in real time, and so they're better able to track some of those within the system.
Thank you.
Can it track the leads from the homes going into the sewer?
So actually, one of the items is tracking water service materials. So that is one of the items that we're looking at adding as a part of this upgrade.
So maybe you might want to explain that to the audience, exactly what that does for the homeowners. If they have a backup or something, that might be helpful.
Sure, so if that will allow the text to immediately know what kind of material the service is, whether it's you've got. I can't remember off the top of my head if Superior still has lead galvanized services, but if there were like older material services, they would be able to see that right away.
Further questions from?
So let's call the vote.
Green,
Aye.
Lewis,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Robinson, yes, Schwartz,
Yes.
David Jackson,
Aye.
Devereaux,
The motion passes. Moving to resolution 2025-62, resolution to approve a proposal from OHM for Ridge Road Water Main Design Services. Is there a motion?
So move.
Thank you. There discussion, shall we call a vote on this? Okay, let's call the vote.
David Jackson,
Aye.
Devereaux, Green,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Robinson, yes, Schwartz,
One question.
Yeah.
If we get this, how many connections would we have? In case we have we're gonna have to help me because I'm not a utility person, but if we have a failure, we have to set up that users who will never be without water. Because we can always connect to a different, water connection.
Right.
So this will help that, right?
Yeah, so this one is one of the critical ones that we talked about during the water system master plan presentation that Chris Ellenboss gave a couple months ago. This is the section on Ridge Road that currently there's and particularly a mobile home park that is in that neighborhood that is currently only fed water from the south.
Right.
So if something were to happen along that main right now, they would be out of service until that main is fixed. So this fills that gap. And if something were to happen along that existing main to the south, they could then be fed from the north from a different direction. So it just increases the reliability of
So
the
who's
system.
been picking up for them in the past when they lost water? Who do we connect with?
Well, they would just be out until that main is fixed.
So
So that's those, if there were any failures in that main, it would be a very emergency.
this way they can connect to this one if they have a failure.
Yes, and it would also, just in general with the water system, providing access from multiple directions called looping, just provides better pressure for the water system, more reliability in general, so.
Thank you.
Moving to G, resolution 2025-63, resolution to approve the development agreement for process 1 is with. Is there a motion?
Pretty cool.
Have you-
Yeah, we did. Yeah, okay.
So moving to G, is there a motion?
I make the motion,
Support.
Is there a discussion or a vote?
Discussion. So, I mean, just speaking to public comments, when you're around the Fort Home site, for public trail, that's something that we could consider as a language or with that. So I just, I just out of
Would you go to join us at the podium? You're likely familiar with this issue.
Charlie Stapleton with Lombardo Homes. I'm not sure of the situation, what, 4 lots, was the gentleman earlier addressing?
Mr. Smiley, would you?
All the easternmost lots. On the east side of the road that was open.
he's speaking to the mic, I'm sorry, Mr. Smiley.
I was referencing the 4 lots, the eastern 4 lots. Which are east of the road that's the service away from there. If you have a map, pointed out.
think you're looking at, yeah, it's.
It's the 4 lots nearest the retention pond.
Yeah, you saying all 4 lots need to be removed in order to accommodate it.
To be on the east side of the road, yes. As it is presently, they're planning to do a connection to the Highland Preserve next phase, but further to the west. And they had taken the 2 lots out to have a connection there. But that would require the trail going in front of houses, and it just wouldn't be as good for people that live there or for the people that would be hiking the trail. This way, it's separated from the development. And behind the houses and along the retention pond, so we have a clear corridor. If you're going through the existing development, there's the retention pond, and they have a path along it. This would just continue that up into to the highway.
And isn't it kind of late in the game, asking the developer to make this accommodations, and this is the last step that they have to go through before engineering.
Well, they have another phase, if you want to allow them increased density on that, but they were good to allow for a connection, it's just that they put it in the wrong place. And this would be much better for all involved. And it doesn't really require any other adjustment from the other parts of the development.
So to be clear, you're suggesting only removing 4 home sites, not adjusting where the property lines are.
Right, just remove those 4 home sites and that'd be a clean adjustment.
I really would have significant issue about doing that unilaterally,
Yeah.
without giving them an opportunity to evaluate this. Just say you lost 4 sites, it's gone through the entire planning.
Everyone else's
Process, and it's come to us. That should have been pointed out earlier.
Yeah.
It still might be something we can fix after this, but I'm not gonna do that tonight to the developer and to the planning commission, everybody who's put time into this.
Yeah, just as a point of clarity, was that, was that recommendation provided to the planning commission? Prior to or what?
I did, and then the Parks and Rec Commission passed a resolution to urge both the planning commission and the township board. If you want a good trail system, this is something that needs to be done.
Thank you.
Sorry, to answer your point about, what this would mean to the developer, and obviously we wanna remain good partners, also wanna be considerate of the Parks Commission's recommendation, but also, again, don't wanna impede the process. So just, if we were to vote this down today, what would that do to the process?
Affect your financials or the construction schedule.
Yes, we're currently scheduled to pre-con this October.
It would set it back quite a bit.
It would set it back nearly a year then.
To it, because I think the ordinance might state that it was turned down, they gotta wait a year to come back. So, with I am confident that if we get with the developer and look at all the remaining property they have, we could find a solution to this. That would maybe not be perfect, but would be good.
Last question, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, would the developers be willing to meet and talk through that?
Yeah, we would have a conversation with Parks and Rec and anyone else who would want to be involved.
Sooner than later?
Yes.
Alright, last question, and then for these sites, the sites that will be potentially deleted, those lots haven't been sold to anyone yet, right?
Not yet, because we haven't started building on this phase yet.
Okay.
Call the question.
Deborah Jackson. Deborah. Green,
Aye.
Lewis,
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Robinson, yes, Schwartz.
Thank you. Resolution's approved. Now moving to line item H, resolution 2025-64. Resolution to approve camera system installation in township facilities. Is there a motion?
So moved. Support. Nothing.
Shall we call the vote?
Robinson, yes. Schwartz,
Yes.
McKinney.
Yeah.
Lewis,
Yeah.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux. Davis Akine,
Yes. The resolution's approved. Moving to I, motion to adopt the annual investment policy.
So moved.
Support with grammatical corrections, and I thank Ms. Muhammad for pointing those out.
Okay. Is there discussion or shall we call the vote? Discussion.
Davis Akine,
Aye.
Devereaux. Green, Lewis,
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Robinson, yes. Schwartz,
The motion passes. Moving to J, motion to schedule truth and taxation hearing for October 20th, 2025. Mr. Schwartz?
Is this also to schedule a public hearing on the budget?
No, I will schedule the public hearing for the budget with the clerk for the October meeting. That's my intention.
Say that again.
I plan is to have the budget hearing at October 20th.
Okay,
The
so
same time.
it's gonna be truth and taxation and the public hearing on the budget on that.
Yes.
Didn't say that, they're just,
or was it sugar she was gonna have?
but you're gonna have to say,
You have.
Yeah.
So
Right.
is that being approved? So what are we voting in the budget or just tax?
just the public hearing on the budget and the public hearing on the truth and taxation, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, with that adjustment, is there support for Mr. Schwartz's amendment to the resolution?
Support.
Support.
I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And we now are moving to the newer new business items. Did we start with the sewer replacement, I believe?
Yes.
What is that? That is, it was passed out of the table. It's resolution number 2025-65.
The resolution K or the item came in.
Yes.
So this is coming before, if there was significant repair that was needed on Harvest Lane, we had a temporary solution before, and based on the construction season, Ms. Burton is hoping to get us to approve this. She pulled 3 different quotes from bidders, and those should have been submitted as back up to the board. And
So moved. Now, can I ask a question? What is that gonna cost us? Do you have a cost for that?
yep, there's an invoice on here.
This is, I'm glad to see this happening.
Yep, she
I'm
wants to
really glad to
work
see
with
this
finance
happen.
specialist.
Are we selecting a bid tonight or one being recommended?
She recommended Ombre and wanted to show that she pulled 3 bids for reference, for comparison's sake.
This has been a while in the making.
Yeah, historically, the entire Harvest Lane sewer was recommended for replacement, but that was gonna be like in the millions to do that. So I'm just kind of curious, what section are we replacing here on Harvest Lane? Because we replaced a section 2 years ago that was on the far west side of Harvest Lane, so I was just kind of curious with this
So this
replacement.
is necessary. There was an interstate hole on the northern end of Harvest Lane and the western side. And the utilities team did an amazing job coming together and project managing a temporary solution. And services were very quickly interrupted for the neighbors, but this is really like a long-term.
So there were
repair.
thing called-
It was very significant.
So is that near the?
Well, I don't know, I have to go take
Who
a
is
look.
this?
I mean, if it was near the place where we had it replaced 2 years ago, we should be probably applying for warranty
I
on
think
that,
we're going to say,
but it's probably not that spot, it's probably someone else.
Mr. Green?
So to that point, that Mr. Short brought up, there being a recommendation to replace, the sewer on Harvest, the sewer drain on Harvest Lane. So if I'm understanding correctly, we replaced a section previously, 2 years ago. We're replacing a section, I'm obviously gonna vote to do this tonight, because this needs to happen, with no question, but I have I want a better understanding about what the problem is on Harvest Lane, because I don't wanna continue to see us do this patchwork fixes when there appears to be a significant need in that area. So I would like to have a better understanding about what that need is, so that we can, potentially avoid these patchwork.
My
Fixes.
understanding is that we're seeing most issues there because the infrastructure is the oldest. And I haven't seen a holistic
Yeah.
solution, and that's why we've been seeing issues arise, and that's why it's so very on me. Mr. Schwartz?
Yeah, that's the oldest section of pipe in the township. It was built after the war. 36-inch pipe that runs all the way down Harvest Lane. It's deteriorated over time. We've had numerous bids or estimates by OHM, and was always over $1 million to do everything. Well over, it was almost 2 million, I think, to do the whole thing, so we ended up with a sinkhole 2 years ago. When we replaced that, it was about 200,000. Now you got another sinkhole. To avoid the sinkholes, we had all the trees removed over the sewer line 2 years ago to help prevent sinkholes from occurring. But when you have a pipe that's 70 years old, and have some, we talked about slip lining it in the past, grouting it, maybe we need to take another look at some of those items.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both of those with long-term solutions, and I know that with the quotes that Ms. Burton got, she was very pleased with the 78,000 from Monterey.
Yeah.
She's excited to see that.
Yeah, I was gonna comment and say, that's not bad,
Yeah.
that's mine, not bad.
Yeah.
So, we move it and support it.
And we'll, at a later time, quite soon, have a discussion about long-term solutions to the whole meeting. Thank you. Shall I call the vote?
Davis Akine,
Aye.
Green, Lewis,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Devereaux, Robinson, yes, Schwartz,
Yes.
Wonderful. Resolutions approved. Moving to L, which is passed off the table and that's related to the Eastern Washtenaw Community Rec Center trail that will link Superior and Fleming townships.
Yep.
I
Bill Moses.
thank you, the board. And just in terms of a really wonderful, so okay, I met with the county parks director, it's about 10 some days ago. And she shared with me that they were pursuing a SEMCOG application for creating a trail system that would go. We're almost fully connected with Arthur, there's a little bit of a gap that's there, but from essentially Christian Law. Going down Dawn and then moving out close where the skate park gets, and just look at that, where the golf course is. The county is looking to pursue this on their own, they're not looking for any funding, but simply looking for a resolution or letter of support from both us and from the folks in Ipsy Township. And I couldn't be more excited to see this coming along. Two, there was an amazing meeting, Mr. Green was also there, where there's a great community presentation with
Yes.
updates about the rec center and with just so many athletic, transformative assets as well, in that district of the township. I think we're creating something really special. Yes, it'll be pretty, very pretty. Even though we're,
Yeah.
we might compete for some of our grants, but this is a pretty good policy. So,
Is going to need to have more transportation for pedestrian.
absolutely, lots of activity, want folks to be able to safely access those resources, those assets.
And we believe in prayer.
Yes, we do. Okay, is there a motion? Can we call a vote?
Just hold on a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Then the passes. That takes us to, any further discussion? Which I see none. Now moving to bills for payment and record of disbursements. Is there a motion?
a motion. For
The sponsors of the with shall we do a roll call?
yes. Robinson, yes, Schwartz,
Yes.
McKinney, Lewis,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux, Davis Akine,
Aye.
If those are okay, moving to citizen petitions, if there is anyone at the table or in the audience that would like to speak on any subject, Ms. McKinney?
Gonna get the right to respond.
Oh, it's in my number, it's getting installed on Friday. It took,
Did you mention it? No.
I didn't, but I did put it in the report. I didn't mention it verbally, but I'm gonna let folks get that update soon.
Then you also disability product coming into, the subdivision, like, there's a lot of dead branches in it. I think if we clean that up, we can get some new growth.
Okay.
And when we do come out, come out of the financial situation we're in, but maybe we might not have to wait for that because we can use side street maintenance to put in some new stuff in that entrance where it looks really bad.
Okay, noted, thank you.
So
Mr. Schwartz?
I drove by there today, I was looking for the sign and I can see it, maybe you guys were thinking of putting it in a different location because this one been destroyed 2 times. I didn't know if that's what you were thinking 3 times, and that's what you were thinking, or
No, we're gonna do the installation this Friday. And we're also gonna go out and look at the sign height and work on moving around the Oakbrook sign MacArthur, so it's safer for pedestrians and vehicles. And I agree, we should do some tending to the landscaping that's there. And we did look at putting the sign up on the berm. That is south of where the median is, but the township doesn't own that property, and it would have created some additional complications trying to place the sign there. So.
I don't know, can we use side street maintenance to do some work in the island?
Well, I think so, yeah, I think so.
It's not just the cutting and everything.
I think it's broad. Yeah, as long as. We're seeing follow.
So we wouldn't have to wait until the freeze is over because we can use side street maintenance funds for
I
that.
can imagine that'd be a pretty small project.
Good evening, Irma Golden, 1585 Sheffield Drive. Supervisor Emily, I want to thank you for listening to the director and the superintendent for utilities and maintenance and taking care of the issue on Harris Lane, because I myself heard about it. Residents were very upset over that drain issue over there. And speaking of Harvest Lane, the board never addressed the residents of Harvest Lane and a list of other residents whose property was damaged as a result of the Morris concrete. Those residents had property damage and it was never repaired. Also, right before the meeting started today, I sent the board an email, and it's a bunch of pictures, and the first one happens to be off of MacArthur. There is a trash bin and there's a lot of trash sitting there, and somebody needs to take care of that, and it's blown all the way down the street. This is right at Sycamore Meadows. And then also from Sycamore Meadows all the way to about, oh gosh, I can't think of the street when you're headed towards Wire and Harvest. Nobody maintains that. I know Robert Butler does some areas, but you drive through there, it's like driving through a forest or driving through a rainforest. The last thing is, and I think I'll be done. I would like to ask that when you go through unfinished business, that some of the questions or concerns that we have as residents, when we come up here and speak, that they'll get addressed the next meeting. I think that should be unfinished business, and because they're recording everything, then you'll have the information. And another piece of information that I know you asked for is for the oil, because I did send you pictures of the oil, Sheffield Drive, Glendale. Really bad on Stanford between Sheffield Drive and Barrington. I mean, it's bigger than this. And I waited 2 weeks because I told Miss Meyer, I told her that I was going to send her pictures, but I waited 2 weeks to make sure that somebody could say this was water. Barrington Drive going to Brookside, all you have to do is drive through the neighborhoods and it's in the center. You can see it. You see the puddle, then you see the drips all the way down. It's very bad, it's very toxic. And I'm talking about the oil that we see in our streets. Okay?
What area?
It is on, well, you go in front of my house. And then you could go on Glendale, go on Sheffield when you turn from Glendale, on Barrington, right down the street from you in the new neighborhood, Brenda, right down the street from you, is a really bad one on Stanford. So just get on any street and it's in the center, bunch of puddles, it's there, and it's very toxic and it's bad, and this is just going to continue.
It's oil.
It's oil, it's hydraulic oil, you can't miss it, it's in the center. It's a whole bunch of them. You cannot miss it, get on Buckingham, go anywhere, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. From the trucks.
Hello.
Hello, hi, I'm Curtis Freeman, and well, if in Superior Township first. So, I went to the presentation at Christian Love Fellowship. Great presentation about the recreation building, rec building. I talked to Megan, I think she is one of the representatives from that area. And she told me, she said, because I asked, are you gonna name this building Miss Cheney, after Miss Cheney? She said, well, maybe we'll name a little room or something like that. But no. He said to me, I need to come back and start planting the seeds. So we need to remember who Miss Cheney was, that we hold her in high regard in our community. And it's an ability, it's gonna be placed with her, what we celebrated the elementary school right there, for those of us who've been here. And so we need to make sure that our room is not enough for Miss Cheney.
We had two presentations regarding her.
That's beautiful, we're gonna layer it up until it becomes Miss Cheney.
Already that came to the Park Commission too.
I'm good with that, we need as many until we say, okay, we're gonna name it Miss Cheney. So I just wanna say, the presentation was great, it was good, but we need to make sure that we present Miss Cheney properly.
Thank you, thank you.
Hello, my name's Jan Weisman, and I am a resident of the Geddes Ridge subdivision. I love hearing how much we love our trails, and I love our trails too. I think the newest bike path trail that we have along Geddes Ridge or Geddes Road is amazing, and I see so many people who are using it. It's really good because you don't have those people who had to walk in traffic, basically. So that's wonderful. The thing that concerns me is that we really need to have garbage cans along our trails. And I've spoken with Dana. And so we need them on the newer trails. But there were garbage cans that were on the trails on MacArthur Boulevard that have simply disappeared. And they were near the bus stops, and they were so handy. And I can see the garbage now that ends up being just tossed in the grass because there are no garbage cans there. And I don't know where they went or why they're gone, but we need those back, and we need more along the other trails. The other question that I have is in regard to the sidewalk completion. I know there was a lot of controversy and a lot of concern about that, but in my neighborhood and in others, there are sidewalks that were never addressed. And some of these are pretty dangerous with the ledges that have risen up, one just down the street from me. So I'm just wondering if there's a plan to make sure that those get completed. And the last thing I'd like to speak to has to do with priority. And they are extremely hit or miss in a lot of areas. They missed my recycling twice for 2 cycles. And they missed others in my neighborhood for 1 cycle. And if somebody complains, maybe they'll come and pick up for that house, but they won't pick up for the rest of the houses on the street. I literally had to call every day for 6 days before we got a truck out. And one day a truck came and sat in front of my house. I saw the guy either on his phone or taking notes, and then he drove away. And so we continued to call and finally got someone out there, but they're not keeping up their end of the bargain.
Thank you for your comments.
That's it.
Thank you. I just say something. Yes, Ms. McKenna. Putting trash cans won't be a hard problem to do. I don't think that would be.
Speaking, singling out the comment you made about MacArthur, my understanding was that a resident at one time put those bins out, and it wasn't the township, it wasn't the Ann Arbor Transportation Authority. And considering that they are bus stops, we've been reaching out to AATA to see if they can shore up and better manage those sites, and if not, we're gonna, as a township, make sure that we put in some new bins that will accommodate, so you don't have to look at rubbish. Thank you.
Madam Chair, trustees, my name is Tyrone Kelsey. I am the new executive director for Friends Indeed. And I want to bring to your attention a situation in which we haven't seen. We've been doing direct assistance social services for 42 years. The context here is that even though 15% of the poor population of Washtenaw County is poor in Washtenaw County, 50% of those reside in the 48197 and 198 zip codes, which includes the southern portion of Superior Township and eastern portions primarily of Ypsilanti Township and Ypsi, et cetera. And I've seen a situation that I need to bring to your attention for collaboration regarding the collapse of this safety network, which is causing my other colleagues in social services communities to call us for funds because we have had the fortune of being able to meet needs in a customized manner, which means we've grown a reputation where we have had funds. What we're hearing from other social service agencies is they're out of money. And the nature of our cause, we have not seen in terms of the emotional last pitch, urgent, if you don't help me, I am done completely. Signs of suicide, signs of homelessness, signs of people being on the street. My role and my request is as we partner with the other community engagement entities in those zip codes, is that we partner with you as well. And we find some sort of collaborative way for the population that is impacted by Superior Township to be part of the discussion, part of the strategic collaboration for how do we begin to get together to resolve these things. I am also a resident of Oak Brook subdivision. Grown up in this, I shouldn't say grown up, but I've lived in this area 33 years. And so in this role now is an opportunity that's before us that is dire, becoming more desperate because of the collapse of the social service network. And I'm to bring that to your attention so that we can sit down and begin to have collaborative discussions.
Thank you for introducing yourself. Thank you for being here. Anyone ever please the petitions?
My name is Georgia Wright, and I live in Gays Ridge subdivision. And the ease between my backyard and the yard behind me, we get a lot of water that just sets and it's drained in there. And I called and I spoke to someone from, I think it was the utilities department, and they had someone come out and drill down and clean the drain holes in the streets. And he says, they don't look like this was cleaned in years. They had to fill up a truck, come back again and drill again. And they did it on one other street. But I think all the drains in that area needs to have someone out there and clean them all. Maybe that'll help the flooding in my backyard. I'm not sure if anybody else gets it, but I know it floods in my backyard. You can't use maybe about 5 feet in because it's always soaked.
Yeah.
So
Gettys.
I'm on Ascot Drive. And I think all those trains need to be around the streets. I think they all need to be cleaned up. So that's something.
Yeah, I think so too, and
Would that be the time?
yeah, there would be the drink water, the utility department from what thinking about, but also. I think there needs to be a stronger collaboration between our water resources group and our coast commission, and I know that when we've seen flooding. Especially in Oak Brook and in Washington Square, there have been concerns about. How recently the, different utilities and some different infrastructure assets that are last taken care of, but I hear you, I will be sure to work on this with the board and I'm trying to work to orchestrate these different county departments to come together to make sure that they're taking care of our trains and our different assets.
Because that was the first time I had ever seen it done, and I've been there almost 40 years. And I've never seen them in drains.
Once they've done this.
Last year, year before last.
I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, I think it was in 24. I think it was in 24, maybe the beginning of 24, after the freeze.
Well, if you'd like to leave your information with the clerk, I'd like to follow up with you and see what else we can do.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Do you have any comments on Zoom?
There is one
Thank you.
comment. The comment is from Rhonda McGill. It says, please speak into your microphones.
Thank you. Closing pleas and petitions. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So,
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.